So I've had the Sony A7S II for about a year now. I'm sure you've heard how this camera is so good in low light it's like you could see in the dark. And it definitely feels like every YouTuber you know seems to have this camera. So what do I think of it after a year? I'm going to be showing you right now through a series of really cool real world uses. All in all, this is a really great camera. It was our primary camera that we used when we shot our video podcast, but for that kind of use it did have some issues. So it only records up to 30 minutes, meaning after 30 minutes it automatically stops recording. Some people did say that the camera had overheating problems, but we would record for over an hour with the solution I'll talk about shortly, and we never had any issues with that. So what we did to bypass the 30-minute recording limit is we hooked it up via HDMI out to an external recorder. We use the company Atomos. They make really great ones, and it also gives you a really nice screen. It has focus peaking so you could check your focus. It gives you zebra so you could check your exposure. It just really worked out really well for us. The one problem we had is that this camera in 4K via HDMI out, you cannot use the face detection autofocus. So what we had to do is we just had to set it to a wide autofocus range to make sure that it would catch us, because the face detection does not work in 4K when you're doing HDMI out. Another thing, if you're planning to use this camera as a dedicated studio camera, do yourself a favor and get one of the continuous power supplies for it, because the battery life on these is pretty bad. I know it's been fixed on the A7R Mark III and on the A9. They have a lot bigger batteries that pretty much last through a full shoot, but this is a problem we would have at the beginning because we would have to constantly swap batteries. So I really recommend getting that power supply, which is what we ended up doing as well. If you're planning on using this camera for vlogging, honestly I think it's going to be fine. It is a little on the heavier side compared to some of the other options, but it's still a lot lighter than using a DSLR unless you start going with some of the higher end lenses. You'll want to stick with a 16-35 or even a 24-70. They're a little bit on the heavier side, but it's really not that big of a deal. That's what I used in the test I'm showing you here. Keep in mind it doesn't have a flip out screen, so you're not going to be able to frame yourself while you're filming, but my rule of thumb is just keep it as wide as you can go and just look directly into the barrel of the lens and you should be fine. You should be in focus. What's really great, the camera does record in body 4K. It does only go up to 30 frames per second, so you're not going to be able to do slow-mo in 4K. But if you want to step down to 1080p, you can do 60 frames or 120 frames per second. Now I will say at 120 frames it does crop in quite a bit, so just keep that in mind. One thing I really hope Sony changes in the next iteration of this camera is that they really give us the phase detection autofocus. The A7R II and III and the A9 all have that, and it's phenomenal. That's really the one thing I think this camera is lacking. The autofocus isn't bad by any means, but it would be a lot more effective if we had the phase detection. It would give you a lot smoother face tracking and would be a lot more reliable overall. The camera can record in various flat picture profiles such as S-Log2 and S-Log3. It can also record in-body time lapses with different stylized effects, as long as you're okay with buying the $5 app. Just using the standard picture profile, here's some different shots just free-handed. So now to showcase the low light performance of this camera, which is amazing, I'm going to show you the same scene over various different ISOs.
Wasting my time with too many reflections. Yeah. And since you've been gone, I've been trying to fix me. And I'm getting there. Yeah, I'm getting there. Without a doubt, I definitely say this camera lives up to the expectation as the low light monster, as everyone calls it. It's stabilized, so that means handheld footage is going to look really nice and sharp. Unless you take it on a, let's say, a doorless helicopter tour in New York City. Insert clip here. Like we did. As you can see, it's really shaky. It's really not ideal. Keep that in mind. You'll still want to use some sort of stabilizer or Steadicam, gimbal, anything like that if you're taking something that's that shaky, especially when it's really cold and you couldn't stop shivering. Hey, so it's Editor Phil here right now. So ironically enough, I hit the 30-minute recording limit right before I ended the video and had the ending cut off. So I'm going to reiterate what I wanted to say as I play this over whatever clip I could find. Really, I just wanted to thank everyone for watching.
Please leave a like down below if you like this video. Please leave a comment if you have any feedback or comments, obviously. And lastly, I just wanted to announce something really exciting. I'm writing a documentary series right now about following local creatives. We are about to begin shooting very shortly. Once we have everything shot and edited, then we will start uploading them one by one, and we will announce it then. So again, please leave a like and comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already for more videos like this.